Next thing that I want to introduce you to is IQueryable. IQueryable interface inherits from IEnumerable. So anything that you do with IEnumerable can also be done with IQueryable. That being said, what is the difference with IQueryable and when should you use IQueryable? I tried to explain this with an example, as you can see with the presentation. In the first example, you see the code that we have is in IEnumerable of books, we are retrieving _db.books. And then in the variable filtered book, we have booklist dot, we have the where condition, and we are retrieving all of the books where price is greater than 500. We do the same thing inside the later section, but with IQueryable. The way the query is executed is completely different in both the scenarios. The difference is that IEnumerable filters the data on the client side, whereas if you use IQueryable, it filters that data on the database side with the query. So you can see in the diagram that in client, the IEnumerable is pushed to the database for the query and then it returns all the records. After it returns all the records, then the filtering is done on line 2. If you use IQueryable on the other side, you can see that the query will be passed to the database, but within the query, it will already filter the data. So what is returned from the database is actually filtered records and not all the records. That way you will see the advantage IQueryable brings over IEnumerable. Sometimes out of thousands records, you just want the 2 records. You do not want to retrieve all the 1000 records and then on the server using the server's memory do all the calculations. You want to add a where clause in your query itself so that the record that is returned is filtered. That is the huge difference between IQueryable and IEnumerable. You can see in the example here the query that's executed with IEnumerable is select all of the records from book and then the filter is applied. On the other hand, for the same code with IQueryable, query that is executed is actually select record from books with the condition where price is greater than 500. And that is where the difference lies. That being said, let's see this in action so that it makes much more sense. Let me switch back to our application and it's already running. We are in the playground, so let me stop it here before we return this back. So right here, let me paste 4 lines of code. The first one here is an IEnumerable of booklist 1 that retrieves all the book. Then we are filtering on that with a where condition where price is greater than 500. We have the exact line in here with all of the same code, but rather than IEnumerable, we have IQueryable. Let's see how the execution is altered. And then let me go to book and we'll go to the playground. Let's click it. Okay, let me open the logs here. And I'll clear this out. Next, let me hit F10. Right now, the execution to the query is not done because it is deferred. Here we have toList, so it will be executed here. You can see the query that is executed is select all books from books as B. If we look here, the number of records is only 2. But if we go to our database, and if we do F5 here, we have 6 books. Only 2 have price greater than 500. So even though the query returns all 6 books, then within the memory it does the filtering. On the other hand, if we are using IQueryable, let's see what happens. Here you can see the query that is being executed has the where condition built in. That means from the database only 2 records were passed back. So that means the filtering has been done at the database side and you do not consume the memory of the server. So this way you can see how we should avoid using IEnumerable when we want to filter our data and we want to filter it using query rather than using the server memory. So that's it for this video. Let's continue in the next video.